Yo, what's up with it, y'all? It's JD and I'm back with another quick video. Today's video I want to chop it up about how in order to move forward in life, we need to leave a lot of our baggage in the past, and we need to carry we need to move as light as possible, basically. And before we get into the video, if you guys are interested in fitness, health, overall growth content, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you can get updated every time I drop new content. But let's get back into the video. So what do I mean by moving light? I mean moving light, physically, spiritually, and mentally. And a lot of times I like to use a lot of analogies, and one analogy I use right now is with calisthenics. So with calisthenics is like a light man's sport. You know what I mean? You can't be super heavy and carrying around all this extra weight, even if it's muscle mass, and be able to do a lot of the movements required for calisthenics, to be in elite level at calisthenics. So say for instance you want to do front levers, back levers, handstands, human flags. If you're 6 feet tall, I'm 6 feet tall. If I was 215 pounds, it'd be much harder for me to complete these movements than it is for me to do it at 175 pounds or 180 pounds. And even if people are 6 feet tall and they're 160 pounds, they can complete these movements a lot better as long as they have the proper muscle mass. But life is kind of similar, and a lot of times we're carrying around a lot of baggage and we don't even realize it. It could be spiritual, it could be mental, and the obvious ones is when we're carrying around a lot of physical baggage. And I've done a lot of traveling over my life, and I've noticed a lot of people, they just basically live out of a backpack and a suitcase. And as far as moving around from place to place, it's easy for them to move around place to place because they don't really have that many things. And this is what people call minimalism, or that minimalistic nomad lifestyle. So if you're somebody who's interested in always moving and kind of staying on the road and not being tied down to a place or letting certain things weigh them down like an anchor, then having fewer and fewer things is the best way to go. But really, I kind of wanted to touch on more of the spiritual and the mental aspect of it, more so than anything else. And a lot of times we carry along a lot of old mindsets that we should have let go a long time ago. And a lot of times we bring with us a lot of trauma that we should have just let go, leave it in the past, and realize that we're living in a different space and a different time at the moment. And last night was probably one of the things that kind of inspired me to make this video. I had a crazy dream last night. I woke up this morning and I had to write it down and kind of like really figure out what the dream meant. It was just so weird, but it caused me so much anxiety in my sleep. So what happened in the dream was I was at my old job, and I guess I was showing up to work, so I was going through security at my old job, and there was like a female security officer who came up to me, and she was like, "I need to check inside of your pants." So for whatever reason I was just like, "Yeah, go ahead." So she like pulls my pants open and she's like, "Oh, you got the wrong type of underwear on today. You're supposed to wear compression pants underneath your uniform." So I'm just thinking to myself like, man, this doesn't even make sense. I never even heard of this rule before. Of course it's a dream. So then they're like, "Well, we need you to come in and talk to the management." So I go in and talk to the management, and they're just giving me a list of things I've been doing wrong. I missed X amount of days at work. Today I came to work with the wrong underwear on. And essentially what this basically was for me was just the fact that my old job caused me so much stress because of the micromanagement, because the job just wasn't fulfilling. It wasn't serving me, it wasn't filling my cup, and I stuck around there for such a long time, building up all this I guess anxiety, or building up all this like I don't know, I guess I just building up all this contempt that I had for that job, that even till this day I'm not even working there anymore, but I'm still having dreams about the place. So it's something that I gotta let go of, and just that whole job paradigm in general is something that I feel like a lot of us need to be letting go of, especially when it's a job that doesn't fulfill us, especially when it's a job that doesn't contribute to the greater good of ourselves. And a lot of times these jobs don't even contribute to the greater good of society. So you might be working for a toxic job around toxic coworkers, and essentially you're contributing to that as well and adding to that toxicity, because you're somebody who's there and you actually don't even really truly want to be there. So, you're bringing negative energy into the atmosphere as well. So I think the best solution when it comes to that is just cutting ties with those jobs. Of course, sometimes the best way is to have an escape route and, line up your own thing, or, if you have a hobby that you want to turn into a business, or maybe you have another career path that you want to go on. I never knock anybody for working in a field that brings them fulfillment, working for a company that they believe in, things of that nature. But, for us, especially us as black men, any race, man, to be completely honest with you, but as far as black men go, a lot of times when we get into these jobs, they might be corporate jobs or just might be working for a company, a lot of times we're the ones that they view as being the most expendable. And a lot of times we're the ones who they micromanage the most and, give the short end of the stick the most. So let's say, for instance, you're at a job and, you get into a confrontation or somebody just has it in for you. They're always going to take somebody else's word against yours. So when you're in a situation like that, I always look at these jobs as they're always going to be a lose-lose, because, you're kind of walking on eggshells every single day when you show up to these jobs. But I didn't really want to go too far into that, but I just kind of wanted to break down that dream that I had. But all of these things kind of contribute to having baggage. And then what is the reason why we're even working these jobs to begin with? So one of the main reasons why we work these jobs to begin with is because we're so caught up in this material world. And, we work these jobs because we want to have enough money to buy certain things and to have a certain type of lifestyle. And it kind of, lately I've been spending a ton of time out in nature. I'll show you guys where I'm at right now. So right now I'm at this little beach that's pretty close to where I live. And I spend a lot of time at the beach. I think I mentioned this in the last video that I made, that I've been spending a ton of time at the beach, spending a ton of time soaking up the sun, a ton of time getting in the water, having my feet touching the grass, walking around in the grass. I might be listening to music, I might be listening to podcasts, or I might just be doing like I'm right now, listening to the waves. But for me, this is something that's actually mandatory for all of us to do, is getting in touch with nature. And it's something that, especially in the time period that we're living right now, like I think that the old way of doing things and our old way of thinking, that all has to go. When it comes down to being in these big cities, I mean, it's nothing wrong with being in a city, but really, we really need to be trying to get back in touch with nature, because we've normalized living in this digital world. We've normalized being glued to our smartphones. We've normalized being on computers for 8 to 10 hours a day at work. We've normalized all these things of being indoors and, our feet never touching the sand, our feet never touching the water, our feet never touching the grass. We've normalized all these things, and, it's something that's completely contradicts what we're actually supposed to be doing on this planet. We're supposed to be on this planet moving. We're supposed to be on this planet creating. We're supposed to be on this planet, getting in touch with nature. And when we're stuck in these corporate jobs that don't serve us, a lot of times we can lose sight of that. And a lot of times when we're, getting programmed by the television, getting programmed by these social media, platforms, we lose touch of that as well. So for me personally, it's something I've been working on, and it's something that, I've actually been trying to let myself know that it's actually okay to tap in and okay to be connected with nature, and that I don't need to put a time limit on it. Because a lot of times my old mentality was like this. My old mentality was that I needed to be productive 24/7. If I wasn't working hard, or if I wasn't working out, if I wasn't on the computer grinding it out on the computer, if I wasn't at work putting in hours at work so I can get paid, then I'm wasting my time. So if I felt like before, I might have thought if I came out to the beach and just laid out in the sun, meditated, kind of relaxed, got in touch with myself and got in touch with nature, I probably would have thought that spending 2 hours a day doing that is a waste of time. When now my mentality is like coming out here and spending time on the beach, or spending time going hiking, or whatever it may be in nature, going and finding fresh fruit, on these hiking trails, whatever it may be that I'm doing that has to do with nature. Maybe I'm working out outdoors and just kind of working out outdoor at the outdoor gym, and then I want to go chill in the grass or something like that, stretch and meditate. These are things I feel like it's almost a mandatory that I actually do this 2-3 hours per day. You know what I mean? Opposed to thinking that I shouldn't spend any time doing that. We have to give ourselves, the proper time to recharge our batteries. That's a part of this process as well. Every single day, we have to recharge our batteries. That's a part of the recovery process. We definitely should be putting some work in. We should definitely be creating. We should definitely be, pushing ourselves to a limit as well. But another thing that we need to be doing is getting back into that meditation process, getting back into that nature zone. So leaving behind those old mindsets is going to be important as well. And then spiritually, we're always evolving spiritually. So the way we thought about things before, we kind of need to evolve out of those things. And a lot of times I think of when I was growing up, I always thought about spirituality and I always connected it to religion. And now that I'm a little bit older and, I've got a little bit more wisdom, I kind of look at religion as more of just a playbook to live like a good life. You know what I mean? I look at a lot of these religious texts and they just trying to teach people the way to live like a pretty good life without as many problems as possible. And there's probably not going to be as many bumps in the road as there is if you're just kind of going out willy-nilly. You're not thinking about things on a spiritual level, and you're not really, using anything as a moral compass. But now that I've gotten older, my view on spirituality has completely changed. And, now I'm kind of looking at things more in the realm of like vibrations and energy, and the type of energy that we emit is the type of energy that we get back. And another thing is that we have a certain amount of energy throughout the day, and where we choose to focus that energy is where we choose to focus our power. So if we're focusing our energy and we're giving our energy to a job that doesn't serve us, then there's almost a certain level of cultivating negative energy that comes along with that. But if we're putting our energy into something positive and something that we wholeheartedly believe in and something that's actually serving other people as well as serving ourselves, then to me, that's what you're doing, is you're generating and you're cultivating positive energy. And then as a byproduct of that, you're just going to be emitting positive energy everywhere you go. You know what I mean? And then it's kind of, as far as a moral compass, everybody has their different moral compass. But for me personally, one thing that's kind of been weighing heavy on me is eating meat. And I'm not a vegan and I'm not a vegetarian even, but one thing that I've kind of been giving a little bit more thought to lately, ever since I've been thinking of things a little bit on a deeper level, is the energy that's coming from these animals that we're actually eating. I would probably feel better about eating meat if I was eating maybe just strictly kosher meat, or maybe some halal meat, or just meat that I knew was cultivated the right way. Maybe the animals were living a good life, and then it's just a part of life. I mean, we eat plants; they don't want to die either. When we eat the plants, we eat fruits and vegetables and stuff like that. So those are living beings as well. But as far as the way that the animals are kind of processed in this society, is that I don't know if you guys ever watched any of these documentaries when it comes down to the ethics behind the meat industry and how these animals are just pretty much live a tortured life. So they're living a tortured life their entire existence, and all that stress, all that anxiety, all that pain that they've been dealing with, that's all gonna come into, that energy is being transferred from that meat that you're eating into your body. So you're taking in that stress, you're taking in that pain, you're taking in that anxiety. And for me personally, that's something I really don't want to do. So I'm going to leave behind that mentality of mindlessly eating meat and kind of put forth more of an effort to know where my meat is coming from if I do choose to eat meat, or just choose to eat wild caught fish, because at least I can know that the fish were living in the sea before they got caught. You know what I mean? And even when it comes down to fruits and vegetables, the fresher you get it, the better. Because, a lot of these fruits and vegetables have been picked prematurely, and they ripen at the store, not the way it's supposed to be done on the vine. So, and all this actually goes back into getting more connected with nature anyways. I know I'm probably rambling right now, but, one more thing I probably want to mention in this video is actually the actual physical baggage that we carry around as well, and kind of tie that into these jobs, because, you know, like I said, we're always working these jobs that we don't necessarily care for, and we're doing it because we want to buy these material things, or we want to live this certain type of lifestyle that might be superficial, it might not be superficial. But at the end of the day, I can say for most Americans, including myself, we have way too much stuff. You know, I'm in the process right now actually of getting ready to move, and it's going to be a lot more difficult for me to move right now because I have so many belongings. I have a ton of stuff that I've been accumulating over the last 4 years of living in Hawaii, and for me, selling it is a pain. I mean, that's not even something that I really want to do. Giving it away is work. You know, clearing it all out of my apartment is going to be work. And for me, in order to move to my next destination, it would be a lot easier if I would be traveling lighter. It would be a lot easier if I would have been living lighter. So the moral of the story is live light, spiritually, mentally, and physically. Let go of those traumas, let go of those old mentalities, and don't carry around so much baggage. Don't carry around so much material items. One last thing, I know I'm rambling, but this is one thing that I almost, even though I've kind of been on this kind of minimalism journey myself, as far as on a mental, physical, and spiritual level, the other day I was on the internet, or actually it wasn't even on the internet. I got a magazine for these running shoes that I tend to buy a certain brand of running shoes. I'm not gonna say the brand right here, but I got a magazine in that mail for the running shoes. So of course it's designed to get you to look at it, and it's designed to make you to want to consume. So I'm looking, I'm like, man, they got some dope colors. They got some dope designs. Maybe I should get another pair of running shoes for when I, you know, start moving around, and maybe I should keep 2 pairs of running shoes. You know, I was hell-bent on getting another pair of running shoes, even though I really didn't need it. Anyways, fast forward to yesterday, I went running, and I actually ended up coming down to the beach as well, or this might have been actually 2 days ago. And I had my running shoes sitting there, and I'm looking at them, I'm like, man, those shoes are like basically brand new. And I'm looking at the style on my shoes, I'm like, man, that's a dope style on these running shoes. I actually like these running shoes better than the ones I was even looking at in the magazines. So I had to catch myself from falling back into that, you know, that materialism trap, you know? So the more that we can detach from always wanting more and more and more, the lighter that we are and the freer that we can move. But anyways, guys, if you guys have any questions, hit me up on Instagram. Fitness related stuff, you guys can hit me up on my website. That's Travelsthenix.com. Book a free consultation with me. We can map out a blueprint for you guys to get in the best shape of your life. I'll holler at you guys later. I hope everybody's having a great day. Peace.